Welcome to class number 3. In this class we will discuss about the classification of IP version 4 address space. In previous class we have seen that the IP address, especially for IPv4, it has like 32 bits and it has divided into 4 parts: 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits and 8 bits. So the first IP address or the lowest will be 0.0.0, the starting IP address, and the ending address is 255.255.255.255. So when we go from the starting address to the last address, there will be like 4 billion total IP addresses available in the IP version 4. So every computer, phone, smart TV or anything needs to have an IP address. If everyone assigns IP addresses on their own, if there is no managing, no classification, it will be not easy to manage the IPv4 address space. So that's why it has been divided into 5 parts. So we call it as a classes. So in this case you can see there are like 5 classes: class A, class B, class C, class D, class E. So class A starts from 0.0.0 until 128. So 128.0.0 until before that. Okay, so 128 is not part of class A, 128 is part of class B. So class A just starts from 0.0 to 127, 255, 255, 255. Okay, similarly class B starts from 128 0.0 to 192 0.0.0, excluding this address. Okay, so class B starts from 128 0.0.0 to 191.255.255.255. Similarly class C 224, class D 240, and this is the last address. So class C starts from 192 0.0.0 until it goes on 223, 255, 255. Then for class D it will start from 224 0.0.0 until 239.255.255.255, and the class E starts from 240.0.0.0 until the last IP address, which is 255.255.255.255. Either you can remember the range like this, so 0 to 128, 128 to 192, 192 to 224, 224 to 240, 240 to 255, or I can show you the logic behind the classification so you can remember like that as well. So IPv4 address has 32 bits, right? So this is the first octet, 8 bits. This is the second octet, this is the third octet, and this is the fourth octet. So for class A they only changed 1 bit on the left on the first octet. So from here to here they change from 0 to 1. They classified this range as class A. This is class B. Here they have taken 2 bits from the left, then they have taken 3 bits, 1 2 3, then 4 bits, then until the end. So if you look at the value of this particular block or cell, it would be 128, because the value of the each cell doubles, that we learned from the previous lessons how to convert binary to decimal, right? So this will be 1 2 4 8 16 32 64 and 128. So class A starts from 0.0.0 until 128. Then if we go for class B, it will be 128 plus 64, so which will be 192. So class B starts from 128 and ends at 192. Similarly, 128 plus 64 plus 32, this will become 224. So class C starts from 192 and it will end until 224. Then class D. Class D you have 4, so it will become 240, and the last one is 255, 255.255. So this is class E. So this is how the whole IP address IPv4 address space has been categorized into like 5 classes: class A, class B, class C, class D, class E. So each address space has some specific purpose, so we will discuss that in the next slides. But for now, in the first 3 classes, means class A, class B and class C, they have done another classification. So they took some range in the middle and categorized it as private IP address space. Okay, same for the class B and same for the class C. So these green ones are private in those classes. For suppose, what is the private IP address space in class A is anything starts with 10, that means 10.0.0.0 all the way to 10.255.255.255. So if you see any address starting with 10, that means it's a private IP address in class A. Similarly, in class B, it will start from 172.16.0.0 until it will go all the way to 172.16.31.255. In class C, they have taken, it will start from 192.168.0.0 until 192.168.255.255. So this is the private range in class C. So you have to remember these for sure. And the remaining addresses are called as public IP addresses. So except these range in class A, everything else will be public. Only this green range in each class is private. Now let's look at the different network connectivity types we can see in the real world. So if you take company A, they have some servers. Let's say they are running some websites, and one of these server, it's running a website, but it needs to open only for the employees within the company, not for everybody on the internet. So in this case, we call this type of environment is intranet, means internally to the company. So these resources can be accessed within, if you are part of that company only. Okay, for suppose you have another server and this you want to open it for anybody on the internet. So in this case, anybody on the user on the someone has internet connection, they should be able to reach this server because you are providing your services through this website. So in this scenario, you have to have internet connectivity, the company, and it has to have public IP address. So what is internet is? Internet is nothing but a group of network devices connected with each other globally, and they route packets which have only public IP addresses. On internet, if you send any packet like from or to address like using the private IP address space, it won't work because the network devices on the internet will only forward the packets when they see public IP. If they see private IP, they don't have any information about that. Okay, so this is the internet connectivity. And there is another connectivity called type is extranet. For suppose company A is providing some services to company B specifically, and they don't want to open it for everybody on the internet. In this case, company A and company B will have their own dedicated line or dedicated communication. So this is not open for the internet. From internet, nobody can reach this link. So this kind of connectivity, we call it as extranet. Okay, so intranet is internal to the company. Internet is open for everybody on the internet. Extranet is for the companies that only specifically have some arrangement. Okay, then so now we can see different types of communication. For suppose if one computer wants to send some information just to one single another single computer, so basically one PC talking to another PC, so this type of communication we call it as unicast. Means whatever the information one machine is sending, it will only reach one machine only. This type of communication we call it as unicast, one-to-one communication. The another type is multicast. In this case, one PC trying to send information, same information, to 3 PCs. So it is trying to send the same information to multiple PCs at the same time. This communication we call it as multicast, because PC is sending the information to multiple devices or multiple PCs. This is one to many. And next one we have broadcast. In this case, this PC is sending the same information to all the PCs. This type of communication call it as broadcast. So in this case, one to all, this type of communication. To summarize, unicast means one-to-one communication. So for this type of communications, we use the IP addresses in the class A, class B and class C. If you use private IP address, it will be internal to the company. If you want to open the service for everybody on the internet, then you will use the public IP address in these classes. For multicast, it will use class D IP address space only. So you don't use class A, B, C for the purpose of multicasting. Okay, and the broadcast, we will see how it will look in the next classes, but it generally we can say it's not associated with any IP. Okay, so assignment for this class is, if you have a computer or phone, go to Wi-Fi settings or go to terminal and verify the IP address of the computer or phone. So when you look at the IP address, for sure it will fall under 0.00 to within this range. So you have to identify which class it is part of. Yeah, either it is class A or class B or class C or class D or class E. So it should be only within this, because computers are not normally configured for the multicasting. They supported it, but when you do this command, you will only see these 3. And for the what is the purpose of class E? Class E is for the research purpose only. So it is not used for any production or any real-time networks. So it is only for the research purpose. Class D is for the multicast. And you should see IP falling any of these classes and you should able to identify whether your computer has class A, class B or class C IP, and also whether it is a public IP or a private IP. So that is the assignment for this class. And yeah, so you need to remember all the class IPv4 classes range, and you need to identify whether any IP address is like a private or public within the class ABC. Yeah, that's all for today's class, and we'll meet you in the next class.